Is there some value during our centering prayer in using physical pain as an instrument in surrendering or letting go? Well, sure, as I suggested, when emotional pain arises, of identifying that temporarily as the sacred word. The same goes for physical pain. If you can't think of the sacred word, or if you can't think of anything else but pain, why not let that be your sacred symbol of opening and surrendering to God while it goes on? It'd be good to take precautions. Here again, if you have a sore back, it'd be better to lie down for your centering prayer practice. If you have sore feet, you might want to stand on your head. It doesn't matter what position you have. If it's justified, the principle simply is take a position where you'll have to think least of the body. And if there isn't any such position, then let the pain itself be your sacred symbol of opening and surrendering to God's presence. And there's one great advantage of this. Pain, when it's strong enough, pushes out all other thoughts. So it's a marvelous device for recollection. I remember doing a sesshin with the Rashi once at Spencer, and I had this terrible flu coming on, and I ached and then not to mention all the aches from sore knees and so on. And so I went into him, and he said to me, well, what was your koan, or how are you doing? I said, I'm absolutely miserable. I feel pain from stem to stern. And he said, that is perfect union. Wasn't much satisfaction, but it gave me certainly some food for thought. The second half of this question, if the apophatic tradition comes from the Greek word to deny, does letting go of the pain come in line with that tradition? Well, I don't think the apophatic tradition comes from the Greeks. Here's where I get into trouble with some of the experts. I think that's a mistake. I think it comes rather from the experience of the Desert Fathers and their understanding of non-conceptual prayer. So letting go of pain is simply letting go of any thought. But if you can't let go because it's too painful, then you translate the pain, as a possibility, into your sacred word or sacred symbol or whatever, and allow yourself to rest in that pain. Mary had an experience of this. She said when she was in Italy, she was doing the welcoming practice on her broken arm. And it was getting worse and worse. It was terribly painful. And she wasn't getting much attention in those Italian hospitals, and the ambulance bounced over the cobblestone. It was excruciating. But she was welcoming. And all of a sudden, I think she said that she experienced no pain, and at least the way she phrases it, she realized what it would be like to be out of the body. And I understand that to mean that she had accepted the pain so much that she went into another level of consciousness where there is no pain, which is, I suppose where we'll be when we die. But that sort of rang a bell with me, because when I was abbot, I used to have a lot of back problems. I remember I had a terrible excruciating lower back problem there one time. I was lying in bed, and whatever side I turned to was more excruciating than the other. So I was I didn't know where to turn, and I sent for the infirmarian and said, I think I need a pill or some morphine or something. I just can't stand this anymore. But I was basically doing the welcoming. I was saying, blessed be God, and thank you, Lord. And I offer him up my pain. As you know, I was really grinding out the ejaculations. Moment by moment, my tongue was hanging out, just about wishing I could go out of consciousness. And all of a sudden, I don't know how it happens, but I was in a totally another place. There was no pain at all. And it was just delightful. I was sort of resting in this mysterious place. I think that's what happened to Mary. And I think that there is a place beyond pain if you utterly accept it and enter into it, apparently, and make it your own. So when the guy came with a pill or an injection, I told him to go away. Doesn't last long. And I was back in my aches and pains. But it's nice to know there is such a place. And I think a lot of, if you work with the sick in hospice or something, when they've been in great pain from cancer or something, the last few days, I think a lot of people go into that space. They're not really suffering anymore. They've kind of moved beyond it, and nothing can touch them anymore.